My name is Carl Richens and I am the coordinator of football officials for the Big Sky Conference. In this video I am going to go a little bit in depth regarding an aspect of the blocking below the waist rule. The blocking below the waist rule has many facets and discussion points which I pointed out in a video last season. However, in this video I am only going to go into discussion around two sentences. Rule 916A2 reads in part, players not covered in paragraph 1 while the ball is still in the tackle box, and all players after the ball has left the tackle box, are allowed to block below the waist only if the force of the initial contact is directed from the front. From the front is understood to mean within the clock face region between 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock forward of the player being blocked. Let's break down two key elements: force of the initial contact and directed. Let's start with force. By definition, force is to drive or propel against resistance. So we can see from this definition, using the words drive or propel, force is directional. In other words, moving from point A to point B. Now let's look at directed. This means to point, aim, or send toward a place or object. Again, the words send towards, we are talking about going from point A to point B. Putting the two together, we can see from these definitions we have two moving bodies and both are moving from one point to another point. These are not points of contact, these are directional movement. Let's tie all of this into blocking below the waist between the 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock face region, or as the rule reads, from the front. The standard by which we determine front is the 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock face region. Here is a clock face, and here is 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock region of the clock face. Let's remove the clock face and just look at the 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock region of a player, who is obviously the center dot in this illustration. In this illustration, the player is moving towards the sideline, and I'm basically doing this in order to keep the clock face region pointed up to resemble how we typically look at a clock face. But keep in mind the player is moving, so whatever direction the player is moving determines the clock face region. Let's go back to the clock face region pointed up, or towards the sideline, in this case, as the defender is running in this direction towards the sideline. The blocker will be coming in from another direction. Again, two forces with separate directions. Remember, the legality of this low block is not determined by where the block contacts the defender. It is determined by the direction of the low block. A low block coming from this direction is a foul. A low block coming from this direction is a foul. Again, in all of these, regardless of where the contact is made, it's the direction of the block. A low block coming from this direction is a foul. And finally, this low block is legal because the direction of the low block starts within the 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock region and remains inside the 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock region. From this illustration, we can see it is extremely difficult for a blocker and defender to be running in the same direction and have a legal low block. It is often noted, was the defender able to see the block coming and defend himself? That is not the standard by which we should be judging the low block because it is not stated in the rule. The standard is, was it directed from the front of the defender as the rule reads? Let's look at some plays. In this first play, you're going to see this back come across the formation and contact the defender within the 10 and 2 region. He's crossed the formation. This is a legal block within the 10 and 2 o'clock region. Legal. In this play, the leading block by the back is from the front, determined to be within the 10 and 2, legal block. Yes, the defender turns right as he anticipates the contact, but that does not mean the direction he's going. We can see the direction he's going is forward, and then there's a turn at the end. That's a normal reaction. This is a legal block. In this play, we'll watch the tailback. Right there at the 23-yard line. It's not the first block. It's the second block. The 23 does not get enough in the front. This is a side block and is a foul. Number 2. Look at the direction of the defender. The block by the left tackle, pretty easy. This is clearly outside the 10 and 2 on the linebacker. The block by the fullback is outside the 10 and 2 and is a foul. Here's an example where he just dives in front of him and he contacts him between the 10 and 2. But again, this is the direction. Watch the direction of the block relative to the player he blocks. Doesn't start and end within the 10 and 2. Could he see it coming? Yes, probably. That's why he jumped. But again, it's not from the front. Watch the block by the right tight end. The head may have got inside the 10 and 2, but again, look at the angle of the block. Not within the 10 and 2. This is a foul. Two people running parallel to each other. Watch the block by the right guard. Again, it's downfield. Maybe the head's inside the 10 and 2, but the angle is not. This is a foul. Again, the angles, too perpendicular. Watch the block by the quarterback after he hands the ball off. This is within the 10 and 2. Notice the direction. There might be some turn by the defender at the last moment after the quarterback has started his block. This is illegal 10 and 2 directional block from the front. Don't look at the contact. Where? Look at the direction, the angle from the front. Watch the block by the receiver at the top of the screen. Here's another example where he going parallel to him. He dives out in front of him, and then the defender runs over him. Again, this is a block, and it's outside the 10 and 2 because of the angle. They're perpendicular to, or almost parallel to each other. And we have a foul in this particular situation. Watch the receiver. Just dives across him. Not within the 10 and 2. And finally, let's watch the block by the left guard against the linebacker. Too perpendicular. This is not inside the 10 and 2. The head may have got in there, and he may have been out in front of him, but this is an illegal low block. In all of these plays shown, these are blocks that are illegal or a foul if they're low. How could they make these legal? Just not go below the waist, and you can make these legal.